The only thing that's stopping you from achieving an aesthetic body is solely just your habits. The problem is most people are not disciplined enough to actually create good habits and get rid of their bad habits. I have been consistently going to the gym for 16 months now, and throughout my journey, I had that realization that, the only reason that I have an aesthetic body now is solely just because of my habits. Because I started off super skinny, and I'm not the biggest guy, but I have built an aesthetic body. I put on 30 pounds of muscle throughout that time, and it just makes me feel so much more confident, and that is solely just because of my habits. Now, and then there's also going to be lots of people disagreeing with this, saying, oh no, but it's all genetics, All these black pillars, bro. They're all going to be like, oh, it's just the genetics. But the thing is, I'll give it to you. Genetics, they play a role. But they're not the only role. Now, if you actually got lean, you put on some muscle, just like I did. Well, I didn't have to get lean. I already was lean. But my point is, if you're lean and you have muscle, you're going to be much more aesthetic than you were before. And all these black pillars are going to disagree and be like, genetics. Like, bro, you will be more aesthetic than you were before. And you don't have to have the most elite, best genetics ever to have a more aesthetic physique than 90% of guys. So, just put in the work and do what you actually can. Because, I don't even really know what my genetics are like. Maybe I have good genetics, maybe I don't. But I never really looked that far into it. Like, oh, do I have good body genetics? But I just put in the work. And then I got the results. So throughout this video, I don't want you disagreeing, like, oh, it's all genetics. Yes, genetics play a role. Maybe you'd be slightly more aesthetic if you had better genetics. But don't let that be your excuse. Because honestly, that's kind of pussy behavior, bro. If you're just using your genetics as an excuse because you don't want to work out, like, I think you're a bitch if you do that. I'm not gonna lie. So if you're putting in the work, if you're working out, if you're getting lean, if you put on muscle, you're gonna be more aesthetic than you used to be. So just keep that in mind. Now, every single daily habit that you have, whether it's the food you eat, if you exercise or not, if you drink lots of water, like, all of these things, they're all going to take into accountability if you're going to get an aesthetic body. If you sleep well, like that one too. So, as long as you're having all these good habits, then, in a few weeks, you're not going to have an aesthetic body. Now, you literally could be doing all the best habits that you possibly can. And then in a few weeks, you're still gonna have a pretty shit physique. But that's not the point of a habit. A habit is literally just something you do each and every day that in the long term will give you an aesthetic body. And for me, it's been a year and 4 months since I started working out. And I started seeing progress around like the 6-month line is when I started seeing some decent progress in my body. I started putting on some weight. I was looking a little better. And I still wasn't the most aesthetic, but after 6 months, I did see some results. And, when you see results, you just keep on getting motivated to keep going. You can't rely on the motivation, though. It's always the discipline, bro. Never rely on the motivation. If you just rely on the motivation, you're literally just gonna be like everybody else, be fat, be skinny, and never actually make real progress. So, I literally went on the days that I didn't want to. I remember there was this one day where I was, walking to a bus stop in a snowstorm to get there, because, my parents couldn't drive me, and I knew I had to get to the gym. It was my gym day. So I decided, I'm just gonna walk to the bus stop in a snowstorm. And I did walk there, bro. Think about that. I literally just walked in a snowstorm to get there. Now, my mom actually drove by and picked me up, brought me to the gym after. Apparently she didn't want me going on the bus in a snowstorm. But my point is, that was the extent I was willing to go because I was not going to miss a day in the gym, bro. I knew that me doing this is going to prove that I would be consistent. I want you to imagine 2 versions of yourself. First, imagine this version. The version of you who eats well, who sleeps well, who goes to the gym consistently. Maybe he's going 3 to 5 days a week. And imagine what he looks like after 1 year. Imagine every little detail. Maybe he's starting to get a bit of abs. If you started off really fat, maybe you're looking a little more thin now. And if you started off super skinny, you probably have some abs. You have, defined shoulders. And you have all these things that you didn't have before. But now imagine the second version of yourself. The version of yourself that, honestly, you're probably on track to be right now. The one who doesn't eat clean, who doesn't consistently go to the gym. Maybe he worked out 3 times this year because his friend made him, and then he just never actually went on his own. Now this person is still gonna be a skinny little fuck, or a fat little fuck. And not skinny in a good way, not skinny aesthetic. Skinny I used to be. Here, like, look at this photo here of me being like super skinny. That's when I first started working out. I was a twig, bro. And now I wouldn't say like I'm like the skinny guy. I'd say I'm more aesthetic rather than skinny. And that took me a year and 4 months. So if I did it, then you can too, bro. Like, look what I used to look like. Like, come on. And you know what? People get confused with discipline and willpower. They kind of think they're the same thing. But discipline is doing something that you don't want to. And willpower, it's kind of similar. It's like resisting something that you want to do. So let's say there's like a cake in front of you and you really want to eat it. Then you wouldn't be using discipline to not eat the cake. You would be using willpower to not eat the cake. Whereas let's say you're really tired, it's been a long day after school, and you don't want to go to the gym, but you know that you should. And then you force yourself to go to the gym, get that workout in. That's not using willpower, that's using discipline. So if you combine willpower and discipline into your daily habits, then you are literally on track and inevitably going to have an aesthetic body within a certain amount of time. Now, I don't know what your physique looks like exactly right now, but I can guarantee that after a year, you're going to be more aesthetic than you used to be. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just keep on going, using my willpower and discipline to just push myself to get more aesthetic and more aesthetic. So, and if that sounds like a journey that you want to go on, then make sure to subscribe to this channel, because I've been through what you're going through right now. I've been through like the early stages of starting in the gym, and that's why I'm teaching you this. I'm teaching you how to actually get in the gym, build the consistency and discipline to get the ball rolling. And if that is you, then make sure to subscribe to this channel, because that's what it is all about. It's all about me helping young men who were just like me, who wanted to get in the gym, weren't fully sure how, but just kind of started showing up and going anyway. So I'm going to help you actually achieve the same results as me if you subscribe to this channel. And as a final actionable step for you right now, I want you to go ahead and pick one habit. Maybe the habit of swapping out your sugary cereal for something healthier in the morning. Just pick something and then set an alarm, do anything to just make yourself actually stick to that habit. Now, if you do want to stick to that habit, then a very easy way to do so is literally just make it easy. Now, instead of telling yourself like, okay, I have to do this for like 20 minutes in the day, then just make it like 1 or 2 minutes, maybe even a few seconds, so that you can, get the ball rolling, and eventually you will make it however long you want, like the 20-minute mark or something. So just pick one habit right now and start trying your best to be consistent in it. Now, I teach a bunch of shit on how to actually be consistent in a habit, but as an actual step for you in this video is to solely just pick one thing and then go ahead and work really hard towards that right now, because like I said, that will compound over time and help you achieve the aesthetic body. Each of your daily habits is either going to deteriorate the aesthetic body that you want or actually help build it.